everybody, welcome to Dakman Productions and welcome to the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania. Yes, we're back here again, second time this year. This time I'm back at the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania for an event they called Model Railroading Days. And this is where clubs can come in and display and run their layouts. So it used to be one weekend, but they found out the problem is once you put all the clubs in here, there's not enough room for people to maneuver around. So now they spread it out through a couple weekends, 2 or 3 weekends, inviting different clubs out here to run. And I do think that makes for a better experience. Today, I'll be running with the DC area independent high railers. They were nice enough to give me this wonderful shirt here. And a very great club. The members are so good to me. They made me an honorary member. There's a couple different clubs that's done that for me, but today I would like to highlight the DC area independent high railers. It's an O-gauge high rail club. You can usually typically find them at the Great Scale Train Show in Timonium. They're always there. And you'll find the members very nice. You couldn't ask for a better group of guys. I just love hanging out with them during different shows. And while I'm here, I've mentioned in a couple of different videos so far about my upcoming surgery. I did get a date. I was hoping that it would be after this event and Edison, so it is. It'll be the 3rd week of this month, so I'll be able to go to Greenburgh, Edison. So I'll be able to make one more train show before I gotta get cut up. They decided they could use robotic surgery, so it cuts the healing time in half, which I'm glad. And speaking of surgery, I received this wonderful card from John and Tammy. Thank you very much for sending this to me. It means so much. I opened it up and I'm like, wow, people are sending me cards already. And that just makes me feel so much better for this upcoming surgery thing. But anyway, so we're going to check out a couple different things while we're here. We'll look at to see how far did the museum get with building the Roundhouse that they've been talking about for the last 20 years that I can remember. I thought I would be dead before they started building it, but here we are. They actually started building it while I'm still alive, so let's check that out. We'll look at a couple things outside, then we'll go in and we'll run with the DC area independent high railers. So let's go. So if you're considering visiting the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania, well, it's in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, Strasburg, Pennsylvania. Actually, it's right across the street from Strasburg Railroad, so you can make a whole entire day of this visit here. So you have the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania here, Strasburg Railroad across the street there. Down the road this way is the Choo-Choo Barn and Strasburg Railroad Shop, or Model Train Shop. And then down the road that way, at the next light, you make a left, and the TCA Museum is down there. So you can actually make a great visit for the whole day. And there you go, horse and buggy. So here's the front of the museum. Across the street, as I mentioned, is Strasburg. So cool. You can take a train ride. I believe it's 45 minutes. And I can already hear the native people commenting on my video. Hey, Dakman, it's not Lancaster. You're saying it wrong. It's Lancaster. And so I am from South Jersey, and we do say things differently. So we say Lancaster, However, you talk to the native people, they'll tell you that is saying it wrong. It's Lancaster. Alrighty then. I went to a different school than you did. You're right. Here's the here's the yard of the museum, heading down towards the Roundhouse. But before we get there, we're going to go ahead and visit Conrail 4800 while we're here again. Conrail 4800 was donated to the museum due to a transformer failure, so it actually quit running. Now, when I was here for the Conrail 50th anniversary, and yes, Conrail is still in business. Don't listen to the naysayers. Conrail still runs to this day, as I proved on video during the Conrail 50th when I met Brian, who was the current 50th, or actually Brian, who was the current Conrail CEO. However, he did recently retire, so they're currently looking for a new CEO. But at any rate, the Conrail Historical Society was actually considering putting this locomotive into a wrap. So they're going to wrap it as the bicentennial locomotive, which would have been so cool for the Conrail 50th. Would have loved to see that, but they said at the end of the day, it was just way too expensive. And not only that, the locomotive is in really terrible shape from being outside all these years. It's such a shame that they actually put this thing outside. It was on display, cosmetically restored. Kevin, when he was with the TCA, ended up giving me photos of 4800, and in that stack of photos, I found a photo of 4800 when it was fully cosmetically restored and on display inside the museum. Why it was pushed out later on, I don't know. I need to ask these questions while I'm here. What are we doing with this locomotive? Is it going to be fixed up? Is it too late from being outside all this time? Why was it pushed outside when it was already cosmetically restored into a Pennsylvania Railroad paint scheme? I have all these questions, and I don't know about you guys, but I would like answers to them. And you can see just how rough this locomotive has gotten outside. It's really sad to see, because this locomotive, this GG1 was the only one that was riveted. It was entered into a Hall of Fame, but you can just see the patchwork coming through. I mean, it is just literally rotting away. The patches are coming back off of it. You can see where he patched it here, and now the patch has rotted off. I can actually almost see inside the locomotive. The rust spots coming through. I don't know. It's really terribly rough now. And if they were to donate it to another museum, could it actually make the trip because of the condition that it's in? I don't know what the plans are. I would like to find somebody and find out. And but at any rate, 4800, it is just in a terrible, sad shape. But anyway, let's move on. Alright, so this is an original Conrail crane. I got a picture of this years ago when it still had the Conrail font on it. Paint was getting worn, torn, so they did repaint it. They just never put the Conrail name back on it again. So I guess it's better than nothing. I would like to see them put the Conrail name back on there. but I don't think it's going to happen. And so for the part that you guys have been waiting for, here is the status of the Roundhouse. They are definitely making headway. The last time I was here, they just broke ground, and they've been it's been going up pretty quickly, it looks like. Let's see if I can get inside the building there for you guys. So there you guys go. There's your Roundhouse update. And, well, at the rate they're going, it looks like, well, I'll put it this way. It's a possibility I might be able to visit here before I'm dead. But at least I'm getting to see it built. And also, the yard is closed until this Roundhouse gets done. So if you're used to coming out here and visiting the yard, it will be closed until this is done. So they're not letting anybody out in the yard, but I'm sure once it's done, everybody will be out in the yard again. Not sure what they're going to put in here, but it's looking good. I'm happy. And then there's your crane. In front of the crane, I talked about this on a couple of other videos, but I'll say it here too, is what's called an idler car. So cranes have what's called an idler car, and that's where the boom would extend over, because of course you can't couple like a hopper car directly to a crane, but with the idler car you can. So that's the idler car was used between the crane boom and the car being coupled to the crane. Okay, so here's an 89-foot trailer train piggyback car. Now I'm sure you guys are saying to yourselves, why would there be a 89-foot piggyback flat car at the museum? Isn't that a modern day piece of equipment? Not anymore. So, to understand what happened to these, because these basically are disappearing or had disappeared, you still see them once in a while. So this car is 89 foot long from one end to the other. So back in the day when trucks, when these were made for trucks, trailers were only 40 foot long. So you could fit two trailers on here, 40 foot, that's 80 foot, and you would have 9 foot left over. Then trailers went to 45 foot long. Now you're at 90 feet. So now you got overhang on the car. Then trailers went to 48 foot long and 53 foot long. Well, now you can't put two trailers on here. Now Conrail ended up doing something which I'll talk about later on in a different video. Could fit 3 trailers on 2 cars, and I'll show you how they did that in that video. Conrail was the only one that experimented doing that, but these were eventually replaced with spine cars, and that's why you don't see these that much anymore. If you're an O-Gauger, Atlas O is the only one that makes the 89-foot flat car currently. Alright, so the DC Area Independent High Railers is set up in front of the Conrail GP30 once again. Yay! Love the flag banner they threw on top of it. I wish they did that for the Conrail 50. But anyway, I'm enjoying it now. And for those who cried and whined and complained about Conrail patches being on the Pennsylvania Railroad locomotives, well, they're gone now. But it was great to see them during the Conrail 50 how they threw patches on these. But yeah, you'll be happy that they took them back off. They were just magnetic patches. Anyway, got some great scenery to run my Conrail locomotives in front of now. Here we are, Conrail Rail, Rhino Legacy Conrail, Brady's Trains Custom Run SD 45s in front of the real Conrail GP30 at the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania during model railroad days. How cool is that?
Norm's putting on the DM1 with a whole bunch of comic cars.
Truck out there, kind of cool. Reminding me of the movie Jeepers Creepers. So there was people wondering about the cat that ended up in my Jeep if I kept it from the Conroe 50. And yeah, here he is. He was waiting for me when I got home. Isn't that right, huh? Yeah. You waiting for me to get home, huh? Yeah. Yes, you are. Waiting for me to get home. Purring away. Took a long time to get him used to me, but working with him, and now he waits for me to get home. Better than a dog sometimes. Doesn't like being held too much yet, but that's some cats. So I want to give you guys a quick look at Taz here. That's his name now. I picked him up at the Conroe 50. Ended up in the hood of my Jeep.